Have you ever felt like life is just throwing one curveball after another, and it's all just unfair? You do everything right. You try your best, but things still go wrong. If you've ever felt that way, I want you to listen closely to this story. You might need to hear it today. In a small, quiet village nestled between rolling hills lived an old farmer. He wasn't rich, he wasn't famous, but he was known for one thing: his incredible sense of calm. No matter what happened, he always seemed at peace. His fellow villagers found it both admirable and a little strange. One sunny afternoon, the farmer's most prized possession, his only horse, which he used for plowing the fields and carrying goods, suddenly broke free from its stable and galloped away into the wilderness. The villagers rushed to his home, their faces filled with concern and pity. "Oh, what terrible luck!" they cried. "Your only horse is gone. How will you work your fields? This is such a disaster." The old farmer, sitting on his porch and sipping his tea, simply looked at them and replied with a gentle smile, "Bad luck? Good luck? Who knows?" The villagers were baffled. How could he be so calm? His livelihood was gone. They shook their heads and left, whispering about how the old man must have finally lost his senses. A few days passed. The farmer continued his daily routine as best he could without his horse. Then, one morning, as the sun rose, a sound of thundering hooves echoed through the valley. The villagers looked out their windows and gasped. It was the farmer's horse, and it wasn't alone. It was leading a herd of 10 wild, beautiful horses back to the farm. Overjoyed, the villagers ran to the farmer's house again. "What incredible fortune!" they exclaimed. "Your horse came back, and it brought 10 more with it. You're a rich man now. This is the best luck anyone could have." The old farmer, who was busy mending a fence, looked up from his work. He watched the magnificent horses for a moment, then turned to his neighbors and said calmly, "Good luck? Bad luck? Who knows?" Again, the villagers were stumped. How could he not be celebrating? This was clearly a blessing. They went away, scratching their heads, more confused than ever. The following week, the farmer's only son decided he would try to train one of the wild horses. He was a strong, capable young man, but the horse was spirited and powerful. As he tried to mount it, the horse bucked violently, throwing the young man to the ground. There was a sickening crack. His leg was badly broken. The news spread like wildfire. The villagers hurried back to the farmer's home, their faces etched with worry. "Such a tragedy," they lamented. "Your son, your only help on the farm, has broken his leg. Now, with all these horses, you have no one to help you manage them. This is the worst luck imaginable." The old farmer, who was tending to his son's injury, looked at his concerned neighbors and, with the same unwavering tranquility, said, "Bad luck? Good luck? Who knows?" The villagers were at a loss for words. They felt sorry for him, but his strange response made them feel uneasy. They left, convinced that sorrow had finally clouded the old man's judgment. A month later, the country went to war. Military officials marched into the village, conscripting every able-bodied young man to fight on the front lines. The village was filled with the sounds of weeping mothers and fathers as their sons were taken away. The villagers knew that for many of these young men, this would be their last goodbye. When the officials arrived at the old farmer's house, they saw his son lying in bed with his leg in a cast. They took one look at him and declared, "This one is no use to us." They turned around and left without him. That evening, the village was quiet and somber. But at the farmer's house, there was a sense of relief. The villagers, one by one, came to see him. Their eyes were filled with a new kind of understanding, a mix of awe and reverence. "You were right," one of them said, his voice trembling. "Your son's broken leg, it wasn't bad luck at all. It saved him. Our sons are gone to war, but yours is safe here with you. You truly have the most amazing good luck." The old farmer, sitting beside his recovering son, looked out at the setting sun. He turned to his neighbors, a gentle, knowing light in his eyes, and said for one last time, "Good luck? Bad luck? Who knows?" This story isn't just about a farmer and his horse. It's about the nature of life itself. We are so quick to label events as good or bad, as a blessing or a curse. But the truth is, we rarely see the full picture. What seems like a disaster today might be the very thing that saves you tomorrow. And what feels like a great victory might be the first step toward an unforeseen challenge. The farmer's wisdom wasn't in predicting the future. It was in accepting the present without judgment. He understood that life is a chain of interconnected events, and we can't possibly know the ultimate outcome of any single moment. His peace came from letting go of the need to control or define everything. He simply trusted the process. So the next time you feel like life is being unfair, when you're facing a setback that feels like the end of the world, remember the old farmer. Take a deep breath and whisper to yourself, "Good luck? Bad luck? Who knows?" This doesn't mean you should be passive or not care. It means you should do your best with what you have. Right here, right now, but release the anxiety about the outcome. Focus on your effort, not the result. Find your strength not in changing your circumstances, but in changing your perspective. The real victory is not in having a life free of problems, but in maintaining a heart full of peace amidst them. Because in the grand, unpredictable story of your life, you are the narrator, and you get to choose whether the chapter you're in is a tragedy or just a plot twist on the way to a better ending. Thank you for watching. If this story resonated with you, consider subscribing for more content that helps us navigate life with a little more peace and wisdom. See you in the next video. Bye.